Hello, my name's Nick and I'm here back on another episode of In the Studio to talk to you today about writer's block and how to get over it. When Jake approached me to talk about this on this episode, I did say to him I'm probably the worst person you could ever get to tell people how to get over writer's block because I suffer from it as badly as anybody, and I still haven't found the answer. But there are strategies that I utilise and I'm going to share with you today that hopefully might be of some use to you. The most important thing to say at the beginning is that it's completely normal to suffer from writer's block, whether that's because of a fear of sort of inferiority compared to other people that you know are writing or doing something better than you, or just anything. Whatever the reason is for your writer's block, it's absolutely fine and it's absolutely normal. Even the best writers in the world, Stephen King, one of the most successful authors of all time, has said on multiple occasions that he suffers from writer's block. The same goes for lots of the famous screenwriters. They're on record saying they do. So it's fine, and you need to understand that it's fine, so don't beat yourself up about it. There's the old saying that goes, just keep writing. When you're suffering from writer's block, just put anything down on the page and that's fine, but there are instances where that doesn't work, where you're not in the mood to do it at all, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So I'm not here to tell you about sort of a way. I'm not here to tell you just keep writing because it'll be fine in the end, because I know I've tried to take that advice and it doesn't work. It works sometimes, it doesn't work all the time. Sometimes you get to a certain point in a project where you have reached a complete impasse and you're ready to throw your laptop in the bin. Firstly, the one thing I do is I watch films. So whatever you're writing at the minute, you will have other points of reference or influence from things you've watched in your own life, even subconsciously. So one of the things I do, so say if I've got a horror script that I'm writing at the minute, and I know which films influence that, and I know which books have influenced that. So one thing I will do is go and rewatch those films, go and reread your favourite chapters from a book, go and find even a new film, go and search around, find something that sounds like of a sort of similar themes, similar characters, similar events, and watch it. Because whilst the aim of the game is not to watch it and then do a direct copy and try and break through, you can take influence from something else, and that can help. It can help you think more creatively about characters, about narrative timelines, about subplots, about anything. So go and watch something that is relevant to what you're writing.
Hey, so I'm Laurie Barraclough. I'm a writer and director of short films. I do music videos and commercials as well. My first job was a advertising creative, so I was a copywriter at agencies, coming up with ideas, writing words for campaigns and scripts and all that stuff. The interesting thing about being a advertising copywriter and a creative at the same time, which script writing is, of course, is creative copyright, is creative writing. You've got to have the idea and then execute the idea in the writing. The thing I learned, and the things I always ended up telling myself is that, the ideas always come, so don't panic. The ideas, they always come. In terms of writing scripts, writer's block. Yeah, so that's that's the big thing. The one first bit of advice I would always say is deadlines. Like I said about advertising, you've got till 5:30 to come up with an idea, mate, or you're not coming in tomorrow, kind of thing. A deadline helps. It always helps. And when you're at the sort of lower rung of filmmaking, you're not necessarily a paid writer yet, not having a deadline is very, very easy. And that's why I consider myself a lazy writer, because I am dreadful at giving myself deadlines. I've got way too close to my scripts in the past, not been able to work out what to do with them, not been able to develop them, basically not being able to get past the first or second draft where I had great ideas. I thought I had great ideas. Every time I went through it, I thought I was diluting the good ideas more and more, and that has happened, and you just kind of got to trust your instincts at that stage. You're either improving it or you're not, and you've just got to trust your judgment. So yeah, I mean, that would be my experience with writer's block is it's pervasive, and you know, it comes to us all. Yeah, okay, so I should preface this again with the fact that I have had habits. Some of them are worse than others. My first absolute fundamental, besides the deadline thing, if we're talking creativity, is reading, right? So if you're stuck for an idea for a project and you're just not coming up with ideas, read a book, read a short story, read a graphic novel, because for me, and I think it might be the same for other people, films don't inspire any more ideas for me. They might, for stories anyway, they might inspire a shot or a sequence when I'm in pre-production. You know, they'll inspire me visually to an extent and maybe with some performance, but writing, no. I don't get ideas from films whatsoever. I don't know who does, really. If you do, that's great, but I don't. I think that's because films are they're completed. They're already done. You know, they're fully formed in front of your eyes. The writing's been done, the filming's been done. It's all there, it's done. You don't have to do much. You just have to watch and enjoy. Whereas when you're reading, you have to imagine everything. I mean, it's written for you, of course, but that's only halfway there. The beauty of books is that it's all comes out in your own brain, and you come up with the ideas, and that is such a stimulus. For me, it just sparks all kinds of things. I mean, a piece of writing is nowhere near a film, so you create the film. I know whenever I read a book, I'm watching the movie, I'm adapting the book as I'm reading it. I mean, it forces your imagination.
Another thing that I do is similar to watching, but is to do reading, which I mentioned. So not only books that have influenced your work, but also screenplays. I think reading screenplays is a good habit to get into anyway. There's a rule of thumb out there that you should. There's the 1, 2, 4. What is it? Anyway, you should read one screenplay a week. Really, as an absolute minimum. Firstly, to get you used to the technical intricacies of writing a screenplay, but also, like, again, just like watching a film, you might read something and it might unlock an imaginative door that's been closed to you to this point. So watch things, read things. The third thing I do is that to get into the mindset that to progress a project, I should say, sorry. That doesn't mean you have to be actually writing the script. You don't have to be writing words on a page. You may progress a project by going and doing some research. So again, going back to my horror script that I'm writing at the minute, without giving too many details away, there is demonic. There's demonic summoning going on, and of a specific demon from the Bible. And it's about going and reading and researching into the topics that can also really help. So say if you're trying to write something that's really specific that you don't know in your real life, and that's what's blocking you, that you don't know the intricacies of how things work, you don't know the intricacies of anything that goes into it, just go. So that might be what's stopping you from writing, because you're like, I want it to feel authentic, but it's not, because I don't know it, because I've never done it, because I don't experience it on my day-to-day life. Go and research it. Go and spend a couple of hours reading blogs, watching videos of people doing said thing that you want to write in your script. Because we all want our scripts to feel authentic, and we all want our scripts to feel real and legitimate, and you want the same for the characters. So go and read around the topic if you haven't already, and even if you have, go and do some more. Go and watch some more videos, because you might find something brand new. I watched a screenplay I was writing about Alzheimer's disease and the impact that music has on it, which hopefully is I've got a short version, which hopefully we're going to be shooting next year with JumpCut Studios. I've never had Alzheimer's disease. I've never had a member of my family have Alzheimer's disease. But I had to go and research the project to make it feel authentic, and that's something I had to do. So I got to a point where I was like, this doesn't feel legitimate enough, this doesn't feel real enough, this doesn't feel, authentic. And the only way I could get through that and get past that block of thinking this isn't good enough was to go and read around the topic, was to go and watch videos, was to go and speak to people that I know that have that work with people with Alzheimer's on a day-to-day basis as part of their work. So that's something that I do as well. So those are 3 things. I'm sure there's lots of other people in this video will have other options that include more sort of writing-based things as well. But for me, it's watch things that are similar. It might unlock a creative door for you. Read things that are similar and influence it, and that might unlock a creative door for you. And progressing a script or an idea doesn't have to be writing words on a page. Researching is just as an important part of the writing process. So even if you get to a point where you're like, I can't write any more of this anymore, go and do some background reading on it. Go and fill out the gaps in your knowledge of the topic that you're trying to write about, and hopefully then when you go back to it, go back to the script, you'll be in a much better position to carry on and finish that first draft or the second draft or whatever draft it is. So good luck. Writer's block is completely normal. You're not on your own. Battle through it whichever way you can. I guess
another piece of advice would be when you're writing, if you're having writer's block during a project, for instance, because we've spoken about before doing coming up with ideas in the beginning. If you're in the middle of a project, the one thing you really need to get is some objectivity, some separation from the project. So you need to change your frame of reference and step back a bit. I've always found it, whether that's a walk or just leaving the house, whatever. You just need some separation. I find it's very rare that I'll sit at a computer or my desk and be stuck on something and think at the desk and then come up with it. That doesn't necessarily happen for me. I have to stop. And again, that might be because I'm a lazy writer. I take a lot of breaks, but I claim it's part of my process. So, I'm gonna pitch that now. The thing is, I think, is to think intensely about something. Think intensely about the problem that you're facing in the story or in the writing. You think intensely about it for as long as you can, and then you just stop and you go away and you do something else. And I've often found that a train journey or something else absent-minded like that, it just pops into your head. The most what would I say is the way most often when it happens to me is when I'm literally about to fall asleep in bed. So I'll be lying there and I can feel my brain and my body shutting down and everything goes clear as it does, and then something will just pop into my head, a solution to a scene or something, and you have to write it down straight away, otherwise you'll forget it. But I just find that it just comes when my mind is at complete ease and it's totally empty. It will just pop in. Then the third bit of that advice is actually, I won't recommend this to everyone, and only if you can do it safely, but I'd be remiss not to mention it because it's helped me so much, is if we're talking about getting a bit of separation and distance, I have a beer. If I'm really stuck on something, I have a beer. Obviously not too early. This tends to be the 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock stage. Have a beer and just let your inhibitions dissipate a bit, and then see what comes of it. Put on some music, but just relax basically. And I found that there's a sweet spot between 1 and 3 beers where I'm very creative. At least I think so. And I bash out all these ideas, or I'll attack the script, and then you copy edit again, stone cold sober the next day, and you erase the bits that are a bit out there and a bit rubbish, but you'll often get some gems in there that you think, hang on a minute, maybe I wouldn't have come up with that if I wasn't a little bit inebriated. And the way I think of it is you're kind of collaborating with your drunk self. So it's a co-write with the less inhibited version of you, which I quite like in a way. It kind of makes sense to me. But of course, if you can't, I don't recommend it for everyone. And if you can't do it safely, then don't. But it's what it works for me. So don't panic. The ideas, they'll always come. So yeah, that's me. That's all I've got. Thanks for having me.